on the Levy Sports Podcast. I'm here with OTL Puncher, OTL Blake, OTL Baked, and I'm OTL Saint. It's nice to be talking. Nice to be back together with everyone. We just wanted to talk real quick about David Griffin's exit interview that we just watched. Uh,
Yeah,
just open up the floor. What do we think about it? About this interview?
I'm excited, man. I am very, very excited. From what I saw from Griffin, from kind of the tone in his voice, he said, I can't wait to get some people out of here and to get some other people in here. That's what I think.
Yeah, I'd have to say I agree on that. His interview is definitely my favorite out of everyone's exit, like all the players and stuff's exit interviews, because the players, I don't know, they came off to me like they didn't really. Zion seemed to be really upset about it, but none of the other ones seemed to really give a shit. That we missed the playoffs, and it was just kind of discouraging. But at least our superstar seems focused and pissed that we didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think I saw a lot of anger from those guys, but I think that Brandon Ingram was kind of mad too. He's just not as vocal as Zion, kind of thing. He's kind of a quieter guy.
I mean, yeah, I can. Well, I think I've said it before. I think Brandon Ingram's your third or fourth best on a championship team. So hopefully Griffin sticks to his word and gets us another all-star caliber player to kind of, give us another option, so we're not forced to play, the Najee Marshalls of the world.
So Luke, let me ask you this: do you think that Brandon Ingram is going to be one of the guys that he keeps? Because towards the end of the interview, towards the middle of the interview, he kind of starts talking about identifying his nucleus. Who do you think that nucleus is?
The nucleus of the team. Well, I mean that's the nucleus is obviously Zion.
Yeah,
You
number
build
one.
around Zion. Yeah. I think Brandon Ingram is a great piece to have on this team, but I mean if push comes to shove and we got to deal Brandon to get a piece that would fit better with this organization, with this team that we're building around Zion, then I say pull the trigger, Uh if he thinks and he's wholeheartedly convinced that it'll be better for the team going into the future, pull the trigger. Go for it.
Yeah, I definitely have to tend to agree on that. I just think, especially because we're going to get to the Ball part next. This is a good little transition. Um, Lonzo Ball, man, the way that Griff talked about him, I think that Lonzo Ball is on that list. I think we're going to try to package either Ball and Bledsoe or Ball and Steven Adams and a couple of picks for somebody. I'm not really sure who, but from what it sounds like to Griff, I mean, he wants to go get a star. You know what I mean? I think Brogdon is like a kind of patch that we could get. I think he'd be a solid player for us. But I'd like to go get like a superstar. Like Zach LaVine, for instance. I think that's a guy that, might be a little unrealistic to go get, but that is somebody that is like a dream fit next to Zion and Bi. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm really hoping, we somehow the basketball gods help us out again. And here's the thing: if we win the number one pick, I would like to keep it because I think that Cade Cunningham kid is going to be, say we draft Cade Cunningham, I think he's going to be an all-star player, and he would be on a cheaper side of the contract. I'm afraid that if we win the number one pick, we would trade that away to get an all-star player. But like if we get a top like if we get like the third or fourth pick, yeah, then I would trade it. Not if we get the first.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely an interesting idea, but I mean, one, it's unlikely we're going to get the first. I mean, we have a low percentage. I think it's like near 3%. But if we did end up getting it, man, I'd probably use it to trade because Zion's clearly not happy. And if you're going to tell him that you got to wait for this other guy behind you to develop, unless he's just a prolific 3-point shooter. I say we use it to trade because I think that's a really valuable pick. I'm not really into college basketball, so I haven't looked at anybody for the draft just yet. We're gonna do that over the course of the summer, coming up in the podcast. But as of now, I'd like to trade that pick unless there's a shooter out there.
Yeah, I mean, it would kind of depend on like who you could get for that number one pick. Like if we're talking like Damian Lillard or Klay Thompson, someone like that, yeah, of course. But like if we're talking people like Brogdon or Sabonis or Towns, then no, I wouldn't trade it.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely need spacing. I think any trade that we go get, and I think Griff would agree with this because he pointed on it into one of the four things he needed, is going to be shooting. I mean, we desperately need a three-point shooter to space the floor. Zion's unstoppable as long as there's only one or two guys in the paint. I mean, he's literally unstoppable. And especially because I think the NBA over time is going to help him get calls, and Zion's going to learn how to draw calls a little better. He's going to learn to flop. Griffin then will just say, screw it, we'll just teach him to do that, So, I think that over time he's going to get more of that. We desperately need a shooter. If there's a trade involved and we don't get a shooter, I don't know why we made the trade. We just wasted assets. We went and got another Bledsoe or another Steven Adams. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, I think I'm gonna have to jump off a bridge if we get another Bledsoe, man.
So that actually brings me into one of the next things I wanted to talk about. Griff actually touched on. He said that one of the reasons why Bledsoe wasn't fully acclimated this season was because of the short off season and the fact that the coaches only had 2 weeks in the building before the season started, and they could only meet with the players in private for 15 minutes at a time outside of practice, but they had no 5-on-5 practices. You know what I mean? So we got two guys fresh off the bat. We got a brand new coach. We got one of the youngest rosters in the NBA. And, man, I just think that, like, at least from what Griff was trying to say, that Bledsoe kind of struggled because of that. And it kind of sounded like he wanted to keep him. I'll be honest with you. It sounded like he was kind of setting the stage for Bledsoe to, kind of stay a little bit and kind of not work him into some of those deals. What do you think about that, Luke?
Get Bledsoe out. Get Bledsoe out.
Get him the F out of here. He can use the excuse all he wants about we didn't have that off season, but nobody did. Drew Holiday went to Milwaukee in the same situation, didn't get much practice time, and he had a very good year. So I don't like that excuse. David Griffin can shove that one somewhere.
Yeah.
No, Bledsoe just didn't want to play, and that's all it boils down to. He just didn't want to play for us. And if you don't want to play for us, man, then just deal those players out, man.
Mm-hmm.
As simple as it is.
So one of the things that Griff was touched on in his interview, I just kind of want to hear what y'all's ideas are on this kind of thing. So Griff said the four things that we need to work on in the offseason as an organization, top down, from the management all the way down to the janitor that sweeps the halls. He said he wanted to work on shooting, the team's basketball IQ, toughness, and development. So what do y'all think about that? Because I think that's a good little core. I mean, that's everything that I can think of. Turnovers would be number one, so I guess that's basketball IQ. But
I like how David Griffin talked a lot about not just those three things, but talked a lot about our development as well with all these young guys too. He's really focused on building this team up with what it has. And I understand you got to bring some pieces in, but I do like that he's focused on, and he recognizes that we do have good pieces in some good places, and you just gotta work with those pieces and build them up.
It's good that he wants to improve on all of those things because we definitely need to improve on all of those things. Like, we couldn't shoot. We can never shoot. That's the main problem with New Orleans basketball teams every year. We just can't shoot. And so we need to work on that. The basketball IQ, I think we were 2-13 in games decided by 5 points or less. And a lot of that was...
Yeah, the actual number is 2-11. I have it written down right here. 2-11 and 3 points or less. It's crazy, man. Yeah. Absolutely crazy.
And that's mainly because of our two guards would turn the ball over, talking about Bledsoe and Ball. So when he says he wants to make the basketball IQ better, it makes me think those two aren't going to be on the team, or he's going to try everything in his power to make sure they're not on the team.
I certainly hope so. Only thing I hope for, man, regarding the young guys, is that he keeps Jackson Hayes.
Yeah, that's my main one. If you have to trade Jackson Hayes to get like Damian Lillard or something, well, of course. But if we're going after a Brogdon I mean, I'd rather, and you have to give up Jackson Hayes. No, I would keep Jackson Hayes.
Yeah, I would definitely prioritize keeping Jackson Hayes. I think he's going to be a fantastic fit next to Zion, especially once Zion starts running point Zion. You could run pick and rolls with them and have Brandon Ingram and hopefully another shooter off the ball. I mean, that's championship level offense right there. At least in the future, I think. I think Jackson Hayes, he's going to take another 4 to 5 years to develop into that caliber of player. You know what I mean? He has to get into the playoff situations to learn what it means to be a championship basketball player. That's one of the reasons why I'm so disappointed we missed the playoffs this year, is because that's such a valuable thing that people don't talk about, is just getting that experience. You know what I mean? So the only playoff basketball Zion's played this whole time is bubble basketball. You know what I mean? After not playing for months. You know what I mean? Playing 16 games in the NBA or something like that. So that's not playoff basketball. Not with the crowd involved. Not with the, millions and millions and millions and millions of people watching on TV. So,
No, and our players, like Zion sitting at home right now watching the Warriors and Lakers play, and he's like, man, that could be me. A lot of Pelicans fans I see online a lot when we're earlier in the year when we were in that bubble, like we were like 11th and we were trying to make the play in. A lot of them were like, let's just tank and try to get a good pick. I mean, no. Literally everyone on our two superstars, Zion and Brandon, have no playoff experience. So I would think like the 11th pick and some playoff experience is better than the 8th pick and no playoff experience.
Yeah, I think you're right about that for sure. I mean, dude, experience is something that I think that we really lack on the team. When you look at like high caliber playoff basketball, the only two guys on the team that have really played that are probably Adams and Bledsoe. I mean, I'm trying to think of the other guys if we've gotten them in free agency, but I mean, right. Lonzo, I don't think Lonzo and B.I. ever made the playoffs, or at least did anything significant in them. They might have made it one year and then lost, but they were pretty bad, so yeah.
No, yeah, they never made it. And like you said, Bledsoe and Adams, yeah, they made the playoffs, but Adams was like the 5th option in his starting lineup, and Bledsoe was playing with Middleton and Antetokounmpo. So like we definitely don't have any like good playoff experience players.
Yeah, and I think that's something that needs to be addressed. I mean, I think that's a big issue. If you ever want to play winning basketball, you need people on the roster that they respect. I think that's one of the things that I do like about Steven Adams. I think that the young guys respect him. You know what I mean? He definitely plays that veteran type role who's been in the playoffs. He understands, the kind of, I guess, pressure that's on you at that point and how little of a margin of error there actually is. Okay, I think that he's just insanely valuable when it comes to that. Maybe not worth $30 million a year. That does drop to, 17 next year, but,
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't hate it, if we kept Steven Adams. If you can trade him and like get a shooter back, of course you do it. But yeah, I wouldn't hate it if we had to keep him. But if we do keep him, I hope that Jackson Hayes plays like more minutes than him.
So you'd like to see him kind of transition into a secondary role kind of thing?
Yeah, like have him come off the bench, bring some energy off the bench, some toughness. If we keep him, you know what I'm saying?
He's definitely some solid defensive presence to have coming off the bench.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, he's also kind of that floor general that we need out there, at least until the younger guys are ready. You know what I mean? Especially when you get to that like lower bench area, that Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Najee Marshalls, great guys, but no matter what, they're still young guys who are playing in a new offense, and a veteran presence probably really calms them down.
Yeah, we need more points coming off the bench.
Dude, this is what I love. Like, this is why I'm so hyped about Jackson Hayes. Like, the step he took this year was exponential. Just how much better, and like his basketball IQ improved a lot. And think about it, we didn't really have an off season this year, so now Jackson Hayes is going to get 5-6 months to work on all of his basketball skills and his IQ. I really think he could make a huge jump next year if he gets the minutes, and I think he'll earn those minutes.
Yeah, this is going to be his first true off season when you really think about that. Same for Zion. You know, they had those little spurts between the seasons last year. But, I mean, when you're talking about an off-season worth of work, you're talking about 4 or 5 months of very planned-out work, diet-wise, exercise-wise. You know, I'm sure that he has a personal basketball trainer that's going to teach him, that works with the team very closely. I mean, you know, these are plans that kind of develop over time and are very, very important.
Yeah.
Right. And like last year they couldn't go work out together and stuff like that because of the COVID and all that. But yeah, I think even if we keep the same exact team, we'll improve. But you still have to go try to get some pieces around these guys.
I agree. So,
Yeah, and talking about like improvement from the young guys. We were just touching on Jackson Hayes. I just had to do some math real quick. You know, he went from averaging 8.4 points in April to the last month of the season averaging 13.7 points. You know, so
it's a solid improvement.
it's just encouraging to see things like that.
And
Absolutely.
also, and he's a good free throw shooter, if I remember correctly, correct? I mean, he shoots, I want to say, close to 75%. I might be a little off, but I know it's somewhere around there.
Yeah, he's in the 70s free throw shooting, and I know it's kind of skewed because he hasn't taken that many, but he's shooting, I think, like 55 or 60% from three. So, I mean, that's just so much to like about the kid. And I think he will lead the NBA in shot blocks when he starts getting enough minutes.
Dude, I'll tell you what, he already looks like an elite shot blocker. I mean, you can tell that's one of those things that when they drafted him, they knew that was going to be there on day one. You know, he's got a natural presence to him. I do think that Zion playing point forward is going to kind of help him spacing wise, because he's going to start matching up against, you know, probably shooting guards and small forwards and stuff like that. So that's going to give him a little bit more space because that's going to keep Zion out on the wing. And I think he's going just to flourish, either blocking shots, and if he gets a jumper, it's the same concept on the offensive side. You know, I think that's really where he's gonna make his money, is if he can make that 12-foot jump shot off of Zion's pass, because that's where we need him to fit in, for sure.
Yeah, and I think he will because I think he has the work ethic to do it. I think you'll see him come back next year with a pretty good jump shot.
Yeah. So kind of
I
moving.
think I think Alexander Walker is going to come back next year too with an improved jump shot, and he showed nothing but improvement all season this year.
I think though I like Nikhil, I really do, but if we're serious about getting some other good players, I think you have to put him in a trade.
Yeah, dude, I think that's one of the things that we could really say about him. To his credit, he's worked himself into an asset, and you know, I think that he's gonna be in there. If we send like 3 players, you know what I mean? I don't think he's going to be high on many teams' list, but I do think that he's got a very, very bright future in the NBA. Especially, and I'd like the Pelicans to keep him. You know, I think that he kind of pairs well with what we got, or at least what I think that they're going to try to build with Zion playing that point forward like that. Because, dude, Steve Van Gundy, I mean, you know, he really didn't get to develop his offense with his coaches before the season. You know, he's only with his coaches for 2 weeks before the season started, and I mean, dude, that's a tough thing to do, man. Do you think that like affected his performance, Luke?
Yeah, I think the general consensus is that Steve Van Gundy didn't perform to what we expected him. You know, but a lot of people do have to take that step back and realize that there really was no time to prepare for this season, and he was going into it kind of blind. You know, I mean, having a full off season, with this group of guys and developing them and actually getting some practice in, and then, you know, hopefully we bring in another good piece, and we get that practice in with that new piece. You know, we're gonna come in, we're gonna perform a lot better next year than what we did this year.
Hey guys, y'all are calling him Steve Van Gundy. It's Stan.
Oh
Nah,
man,
he's
well, you know
fucking
what?
Steve. That dude is fucking Steve.
Dude, I was
He
right.
hasn't, he hasn't earned the right to fucking call himself Stan. He, he's so stupid.
I always write SVG, man. I always forget that. I always mix up Steve and Stan. There is a Steve Van Gundy, right? Or am I just being an idiot?
His brother's name is Jeff. There's
Yeah.
Jeff Van Gundy and Stan Van Gundy.
But I just
Well, you
think
know what?
I
His
think
name is Steve
Stan
now.
I think Stan is just not the coach
So
for the
so
Pelicans.
let me ask y'all a question. So it sounds like y'all want to run it back with the same team.
I would get rid of Eric Bledsoe just based off of the $18 million contract that he has next year.
Mhm.
And if Brandon Ingram has to go to get an All-Star, I wouldn't also mind that because I think he's due about 29 million next season.
Well,
So
Brandon himself
it's
is an all-star.
Yeah,
You know,
dude.
yeah, so,
I
He
mean, he's
made
gonna
the
be a
All
top
Star.
20. He's gonna be a top 20 player in the NBA eventually, man.
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, if we gotta keep, if we gotta deal Brandon to get, like a Dame or CJ McCollum or some big player like that, man, then do it. But I mean, if you just want to pull in a third guy that's
definitely dish out
top
Bledsoe.
top
Because
30, top
we're
40.
not going to be able to get any other pieces if we don't trade people.
I think we
We have
can
no
dish
money.
up Bledsoe and Ball and a pick maybe and probably get a good decent 3-point shooter to space the floor. And
Yeah, I
I
agree.
think we should be good if we can get that. Maybe dish out Steven Adams, but I kind of like him as our backup center just to come in to give Zion
Yeah.
some relief in the paint since he
It,
gets
Yeah,
berated.
but if you dish ball and Bledsoe, that 3-point shooter that you bring in is gonna have to be a guard because we can't rely, Alexander Walker and what Kira Lewis to run our guard spots next season. That's
Kira Lewis was doing pretty good this season.
Cara Lewis isn't ready to start.
I don't
yeah,
think he's ready
he's
to
not.
start. I think he's ready to get I don't want to say significant minutes, but kind of just outside of that, maybe like 12 to 13 minutes a game. I think he can give solid reps. He is also going to bring in great energy when the Pelicans slow down. He's a guy that Stan likes to put in there. Um, Whenever you can kind of see the defense is lacking, you can see the energy drops. He puts him out there, and Kyra's running all around, and it does change the game at times. And Kyra's got the clutch factor. I mean, he's knocked down a couple of clutch threes this year, man. We just never capitalized on him. That still
Yeah.
irks me. That's gonna irk me every day, man. That Knicks game haunts my dreams, man. That Lonzo just missed that guy on the wing. For some reason, we were up 2 points, and he just or no, we were up 3 points. The only thing that could tie a game was a three, and he covered the layup. It's like, come
Yeah,
on, man. Like,
I think
I mean,
I think
but that's a recurring thing with Lonzo.
Okay, so what of our players are we re-signing? I'm gonna name off the free agents that we have in this upcoming season. Who
I
do you
like
think
it.
that we should re-sign? We have James Johnson, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, Willie Hernan Gomez, and that's it.
The only one I'd re-sign is Hart.
yeah, I think I might try to do a sign and trade with Ball.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, well, he is a restricted free agent this year, so it is a little
Yeah.
it is a little different. I don't see a team going to give him a massive contract.
I
Um,
see a team give him a
but
massive contract, but there is the New York Post posted a article a day ago saying that the Knicks do have interest in Lonzo Ball potentially as an unrestricted free agent.
speaking of this, we recorded this on 5/19/2021. But yeah, man, I think that's crazy. What else is in the article? Like, what does it talk about?
Let me see. It's just talking about the Knicks looking for a long-term point guard, but I don't think they'll find that in Ball. But if they're looking to trade for Ball, we can surely dish him out to the Knicks.
I mean, don't the
Well,
Knicks don't the Knicks have Derrick Rose right now? I mean, I guess he is getting a little older, so they want somebody to come in
Yeah.
and take that over time.
dude,
But I
Derrick
mean,
Rose would be perfect for us.
Oh, if yeah,
I'd like if we're gonna trade for somebody, I'd like to go get somebody that. How about R.J.
I
Barrett?
think
Let's
the
go
Knicks.
get R.J. Barrett, man. I like.
Yeah,
He's a
but I
I
think
don't
three-point
know.
the
The
shooter.
Knicks are
Knicks would
gonna
be
let
willing
him.
to.
Like,
Sure, they will never let it. I mean, Pelicans puncher. They will never let us have R.J. Barrett.
They will
yeah,
never.
no,
They. I don't know, dude. We have a lot of assets here that I
Yeah,
think we could entice them with, man. I don't know if
yeah,
we
but
have anything that can make them want to win.
I
But
think more realistically, we should go after Derrick Rose or like an Alec Burks because
Yeah,
Alec
because I
Burks
think
can shoot
Derrick
the three,
Rose
man.
is a good point guard, and he's a good veteran leader with experience.
the Knicks would actually just take a straight up ball for Rose trade if they're really looking for this long term point
Yeah,
guard. They
but
might
dude,
just take a straight up ball for Rose trade, which would be the best. That'd be the best situation for the Pelicans if we can
I
get
agree
a straight player for
wholeheartedly,
player
Colson.
trade.
You are
I
absolutely right.
I think that it's going to be a big problem because I think that Zion playing point forward, going to get a guy like Derrick Rose isn't going to be that valuable. Especially when you look at our spacing issues. He's kind of a guy that likes to get in the paint. He didn't have a bad 3-point shot by any means, but like that's not where he makes his money. And like also, I want to go get a younger guy. You know what I mean? I don't want to start spending assets on guys like Derrick Rose, who I think is a great point guard in the NBA. I'm not down on him, but he's not somebody we can build long term with. And that's the thing that would worry me about going to get somebody like that.
Well, no, well, listen,
Pelicans, we already have a.
he's only 32, and he's coming off of statistically his best 3-point shooting season of his entire career.
Do you know what he shot by any chance?
Yeah, he shot 41%. Yeah,
It's not bad.
41?
That's pretty good. That's elite, actually. You know,
yeah. So, I mean,
it's not as
come
bad.
in.
It's not as bad as I thought. I guess because of all the injuries, I expected him to be older. 32 sounds low to me, but that I mean, you know, you're probably looking at it right now, so I know I'm wrong. But
He's just one of those guys that's been playing since he was 18. You know, so he's been in the league a long time, but he's really not
was
that old.
was he one of like those last high school guys to get drafted, or was that before
The
him?
LeBron, I think. I think he was in the
No.
same class as.
No, no, he
He
was
was at
after
Memphis
LeBron.
for a season, I think.
No, he got drafted in 2009. And I think he went to UCLA. I'm not quite sure. But no, I think Derrick Rose would be really good as a veteran. I know before, because the Knicks made a move for him at the trade deadline, I think, or a little bit before it. They were like the 10th seed before they got him, and now since they've had him, they've moved all the way up to like 5. He completely changed that team. He averaged, I think, 16 points coming off their bench for him, shooting as well as Luke had said. I mean, he would just be perfect for us. I'm not saying like he's the only guy we should get, but as a veteran
Yeah,
with experience that you could count on, I mean, it would be perfect.
Yeah, and you could kind of like you said with Zion running point forward, he's getting to a stage in Derek's career where he's not as athletic or whatever. He's not going to be that slashing player or as good of a slashing player as he was in the past, especially with all those knee injuries. You can kind of shift him over to like a two guard spot, and have him start running that. And he'll just be on the court, just for that experience. And he's got this shooting that he's improving on, just out there running, running our offense or whatever, and leading our team on the court. And then you'll have another veteran like Steven Adams coming off the bench to help lead the team, help lead this young team. And if we get another good player like Blake said, we'll be a playoff team for sure.
Easily.
We just gotta get that floor spreader. We just gotta get someone who can spread the floor.
Doug
Good.
McDermott, scream it to the rooftop. Doug McDermott would be the perfect 3-point shooter.
Then I gotta scream out
You know what I think
McDermott
we
every
really need,
time.
man? Nah, I think what we really need to do is bring Luke Babbitt in as a shooting coach.
Dude, Luke Babbitt, it might be like the all-time bench player in my mind. I think he's one of my favorite guys to come off the bench in the past week.
Ryan
Whenever he
Anderson,
came in,
the flamethrower.
we immediately had spacing when he came on the floor every single time
Dude, we
for like 10 minutes, and then it'll
immediately
go
had-
away.
Dude, we immediately had 9 points when he came on the court. In 2 minutes, we had 9 points, and then we would take him out.
Every time, man. Every time he came on the court, that man was fire. He's the Todd Peterson of the NBA. And we'll get to Todd Peterson later. He's probably we love Todd Peterson on this podcast, and
He hits nukes.
he hits bombs, man. I told him I hit bombs, coach. It's like, oh, dude, that is amazing. Oh.
I don't like Todd Peterson.
No, I like him purely because of that, dude. I told Coach I hit nukes.
Yeah, I will never not like him for that, dude. He cranked one that was like 3 feet from going over the fence, and afterwards he just stood on
Dude
first
hit the
base.
2 RBI double.
He just stood on first base or second base or whatever, wherever he ended up, and like he didn't celebrate. He just stood there like, Yeah, I expected this. Like, it was just such a pimp thing to do. And not only that, but then to come out and tell his coach that he lied to him.
He looked at coach. He was like, hey, "I told you, I hit nukes."
He was like, "You lied to me." It's like, yeah, I wanted to swing, coach. One of the greatest LSU baseball moments ever in my mind. Anyway,
We just need somebody. We just need somebody to come into the Pelicans organization, and lead them to having that go yard mindset.
dude, I completely agree. You need that guy that's just got that swagger. You know, like the Miami Heat teams, they had that Birdman. They had Birdman. You know what I mean? They just had that swagger about him. He got tattoos, mohawks, all that kind of stuff. You know, Bulls had Dennis Rodman. The Cleveland Cavaliers had Matthew Dellavedova, which, you know, he didn't have tattoos and stuff all over him, but he had that pimp attitude. You know what I mean? I think that's what set him over the top. Had the Todd Peterson mentality.
Well, Steven Adams was supposed to do that, and he was a huge letdown.
The Australian, eh? Picking on him.
He was probably the quietest guy on our team this year.
Oi, don't make him out to be some kind of dickhead.
I can't shoot free throws, mate. You must think what I do at practice. I don't know. I kind of just stand around. I could be working on my free throws, mate, but I don't.
I tried to shave with a weed whacker, but it just breaks every time. Oh, that's Irish. That's way more Irish than it is Australian.
Yeah. I shoot 44%. I shoot 44% from the free throw line, and I still don't practice them, mate. And I try to draw fouls during the games like I'm James Harden or something, mate. And I just can't make the free throws, but I choose not to practice them.
Dude, that's atrocious, bro. 44% from the
You're not even
free throw
trying.
line.
You're not even practicing. 44%.
Can we say that when?
And
what
he's
was
a
Shaq's
he's a
percentage of free
veteran.
throws? Can we really throw
Fuck
someone
you.
under the bridge for a shitty free throw percentage when I'm pretty
had-
sure Shaq trained his entire career to make free throws and still couldn't?
Dude, Jack, don't compare Steven Adams to Shaq.
You can miss free throws when you're
Large
putting up like
humans.
30 points a game and 20 rebounds and changing the game of
Yeah.
basketball.
Adams
Very true.
averages 6 points and 7 rebounds. The least he can do for us is shoot 50% from the free throw line.
I think we should might need to ditch Adams.
You can, if we can, we should. But if not, he can come off the
Yeah,
bench.
he's a guy. He's a guy that I can live with over the next couple of years. There's a couple of guys I'd like to see out. Like I think we all want to see Bledsoe out. I think the entire Pelicans fan base isn't a big fan of Bledsoe, especially because he came after Drew. Like, dude, Drew was so popular. Like even if he, you know, you can argue about his consistency here and there, and you know things like that. But the things you can't deny is that he's an all-NBA defenseman, you know, probably one of the best defensemen in the league, and that he's just a great guy. I mean, you talk to him, he's got a great head on his shoulders. He's kind.
Drew-
you know, what I mean, everybody likes that guy. He's a small market
Drew
guy.
was the all-star of the city, man. Drew's the all-star of the city, dude. He didn't have to be an all-star in the NBA to be an all-star in the city.
Yeah, people really liked him around here, and he walked the walk, man. So, but dude, I think that really kind of sets up Eric Bledsoe in kind of a difficult position. But you know, on the other hand,
just get him
get
out.
him out, get him out, rip
Get him out.
We don't care. No excuses. Eric
Get him
Bledsoe
out.
can go screw himself. We want him gone.
Go get a second-round pick that we can trade to get a deeper second-round pick, and then we'll just trade that away and for money, and then we'll go sign somebody in free agency.
Yeah.
It'll be like one of those videos where somebody starts off with a pair of like headphones and ends up with a card. Let's just get that second round pick and let's keep dealing it until we get an all-star.
David Griffin has like 40 second-round picks stacked up, so we'll see what he's got up his sleeve for those.
He might start giving them out as Christmas presents if we're not careful. We'll have a Dell Demp situation on our hand going after Omer Ashiks.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, don't even say that
more.
name, bro.
Do you know the sad part? I remember us
Ryan
being
Anderson's.
in high school and being like, "Oh my god, dude, we just traded for Omer Ashik," and then we were so excited.
So excited.
We thought the Pelicans were going to be NBA.
Played.
We
It's
thought
like
that.
I think we were in Latin class when we figured out. We're like, oh my god.
I know we finally had a good center. We thought.
Yeah.
He played his first game, and we were like, no, this
Yeah.
ain't it.
And dude, and then the worst part is we were like, okay, everyone in the stands, everyone watching on TV was like, oh, okay, this guy isn't it. And it's like, bam, $60 million. It's like, why? What are you doing? No, like, and then have to watch him for a couple more years. I mean, I don't even remember if he played out his contract or we traded him. I think we traded him after, I think to the Bulls, right? He went to the Bulls.
No,
He was traded to the Bulls in
yeah.
20. We got Mirotic.
Oh my God.
Oh
Wait,
yeah.
Dell Demson traded Ashik for Mirotic? What were
Yeah,
the
we-
Bulls
we-
thinking?
Traded Oshik, Jameer Nelson, Tony Allen, and a protected first-round pick in exchange for Nikola Mirotic
Well, that was a good Dell Demps trade.
and
I'm surprised.
a second-round draft pick.
Dude, Dell
What-
Demps trades were low-key pretty good.
No, he
Like,
only.
he-
always were able to just like screw around trades. He's just like, let's just make this a one-way trade,
He-
basically.
No, like that's the one thing I liked about Dell Demps. He knew what he wanted and he went and got it. Like he did it with Mirotic, he did it with Cousins. I like how he traded.
I do respect like the willingness to be aggressive, but the only time that any of his trades worked out is when that person averaged less than 12 points a game. You know what I mean? Like that's a significant problem. All of his other trades that he made, Omer Ashik, he gave up a first round pick. I believe he gave up a first round pick for what's his name?
Cousins.
Cousins. Yeah, he gave up first round picks for Cousins and stuff like that, and then refused to re-sign him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? Just what are you doing?
Well, if you look back on it, it was a good decision that he didn't re-sign Cousins.
Yeah, I mean, like knowing what we know now, I would say yes, just because we got Zion and we were incredibly lucky doing that. But like at the time, man, at the time I was furious because I thought that was the end of Pelicans basketball. I thought that AD would leave, we'd be terrible for a couple of years, and then somebody they'd leave the city, they'd move. You know what I mean? And Zion is kind of I think this city's last hope in basketball. I think we got to embrace him. If we don't, we're going to lose our basketball team.
I mean, the fans have embraced Zion. It's all on Griffin and Miss Benson it's up to them if they want Zion to.
I feel like Griffin is he's gonna make some big moves in the summer.
He's got to.
Yeah.
Because Dell Demps made big moves, but I don't feel like his trades had like a plan, like a big plan around them. I feel like he was just trying to get big names to try to, I think, make something kind of work. He's like, I'm gonna get a big name and another big name and see if maybe they can do something and just like hope for it to work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Griffin is trying to. He's got a plan in his mind. He's slowly trying to build to it. Which is why
Let's get to it. Let's get to it, Griff.
I think he might keep Lonzo Ball. I want
Oh.
Lonzo Ball traded, but I think he might because Lonzo Ball did have his statistical career year this year. So he may re-sign Lonzo Ball, but it depends on how much the Bulls and the Knicks offer Lonzo Ball.
If we're talking like 10 million, yeah, I'll keep Lonzo. But
Yeah.
anything 15 and above, no.
I'd be okay.
I think
I'd be
in the
okay with-
15 range to get Lonzo.
Yeah, I'd be okay with 15, maybe even $16 million, maybe if it's front loaded. I would rather them front load his contract and give him a lot of money now because, frankly, we don't have. I don't think that there's a team that's willing to trade a superstar, and that might change after the playoffs end. But as of now, I just don't see a team that's ready to completely dismantle their roster and get rid of a superstar. I mean, maybe in the next year, the Blazers and Damian Lillard have a falling out, but I don't see that happening. I mean, dude, if Damian Lillard wants out of Portland, I mean, that's a super team right there. Because nobody can offer anywhere near as much as we can. Nobody. And no one's going to be willing to. You know what I mean? It's going to be same situations with the Lakers and the Pelicans when we were trading Anthony Davis. They don't have the leverage, especially if he says he wants to come here. But that's not going to happen, dude. They love each other. So I would like to see us kind of wait and kind of push off the big trade and just go get someone to help us win, help us get to the playoffs, help us take that next step. Because once you get to the playoffs, that's when other superstars want to come. You know what I mean? They don't want to come the year that you don't make the playoffs. You know what I mean? That's yeah.
Well, yeah.
What we should do, Griffin should call Zion into his office and say, "All right, Zion, what do you want me to do? I want to do whatever makes you happy and makes you want to stay. What do you want me to do?"
See, and that's one of the things I like about Zion is I don't think he's in there in Griff's ear. I think that Zion, of course, wants certain things to happen. You know what I mean? Like, he is going to want us to go try to win, try to get a superstar and those types of things. But unless he can say, hey, Griff, you know, I'm good friends with Dame. We've been practicing together. We've been talking on the off season, and he wants to come, then I think he's going to go in there and say something. But I don't think that he's just going to go in there to raise hell just to raise hell. I don't think that's Zion's kind of way. I think he's just going to kind of be quiet about it, say little things in interviews here and there to let him know that he means business. And
Well, him going into the GM's office and saying, you know, I think this is the direction that we should take. You know, I mean, because it's been clear he's the guy that we want to build the team around. So he should definitely be in that office, giving his input on how he thinks the team should be built. If we're building it around him, he should be in there helping make those decisions, or at least giving input into those decisions.
and
I
without
think
and without
David
it.
Griffin should ask him what he wants. I don't think Zion should have to go to David Griffin. I think David Griffin should go to Zion.
And I think that that's happening. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that they're not including Zion in the discussion. I'm just saying that I don't think that Zion is going in there and making these blatant and large demands like an NBA veteran would, especially some of the guys that we see in the NBA. I do think that he's definitely going to be involved in that discussion. You know what I mean? I don't think Griff is a stupid guy by any stretch of the means, and I don't think he's a guy that's just going to flat out ignore his best player. So, you know, I am interested to see kind of the direction that they go, and I hope that they maintain a good relationship. I really do, because I think that him and Swin Cash are probably the two people, and maybe Brandon Ingram and Lonzo to an extent, are kind of his core there. You know what I mean? And Jackson Hayes can be mixed in. That's his support system. If he has a falling out with those people, that's when we're going to start running into issues. That's when we're going to see him start saying stuff in the media, I think.
Get Lonzo out of that core, dude. Get Lonzo out of that.
Well, I think that that's his friend. Because I mean, think about it, dude. He came out of college and he came in, and Lonzo's this, you know, superstar kind of guy. I mean, he's a household name. You know what I mean? Because he's a ball and stuff like that. And you know, there's probably a certain social status that comes along with hanging out with him. And I'm not saying that, you know, he's being selfish or anything like that, but I'm sure that he immediately gravitated to Lonzo because he was an idol for the past couple years. You know what I mean? Like, you know, he saw him playing in the NBA, and he saw him making music and making billions of dollars before the BBB company went under or whatever like that, or, you know, someone stole money from him, or whatever happened with that. You know, so I think that he's kind of like one of Zion's friends. I do think that Zion is going to be willing to trade him, though. If you tell him that he's just not a championship caliber player, I think he'll be upset. However, if that doesn't work out, that's going to be an issue. If we tell him to trust us and it doesn't work out, that's one of those things that's going to force him out of the organization. That's one of the reasons I'm kind of hesitant on trading Lonzo.
Zion has come out and said that he hopes that Lonzo Ball will be back in New Orleans next season. On the account, because Lonzo Ball, he can be inconsistent with his point scoring, but his assists are always good. And he's always given Zion assists. Like, that's probably why Zion wants to keep Lonzo on the team, is because
I mean, he averages 5 assists. That's not that good.
It should be more, but I also think it's going to be difficult because now that Zion's playing point forward, and Stan Van Gundy talked about it in his exit interview, he talked about how he thought that it was a difficult transition for Lonzo Ball to be playing off the ball more now that Zion's taking control. And to me, you know, it sounds like he was making an excuse for why his production dropped. But if he doesn't fit into our offense, why are we keeping him? You know what I mean? Like, why are we just going to eat this guy who can't fit into our offense, who's a great basketball player, but he doesn't fit our offense, you know?
I mean, we have to treat it like kind of how Milwaukee's doing it with Giannis. They have Giannis and a bunch of good shooters around him. And look, you wonder they shipped Eric Bledsoe out, right? Because he wasn't a good shooter. And I think we have to put Zion in that same category as a player like Giannis. He needs space to be able to get to the rim, and he has shooters around him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely going to be kind of our build, especially if Zion can lose some weight and start becoming kind of a push the pace kind of guy. If he becomes a push the pace kind of guy and we become a pace offense with him at point forward, it's game over. We just reinvented basketball. Whole new offense and everything.
Yep, and it's all centered around us getting shooters, and we don't have them right now.
Are there any potential shooters that look good in the upcoming draft?
I mean,
We'll have to do our research on that one, Bowlesby. That's kind of a tough one to talk about.
I know of a few. The kid from Baylor who won the championship, Davion Mitchell, he's a good shooter. If we stay around the 8th pick, he'd probably be my first choice. Or that Corey Crispert kid from Gonzaga. I think he shot like 45% from 3. So either one of those would be great.
Yeah, and like we'll probably end up doing a whole series on guys that we like and want to draft and kind of situations that we think. I think that'll be a series. Guys, like it. Comment down in this video if that's something you guys would want to see from us doing these player interviews and stuff like that. But we're starting to get kind of towards the end of the video, so let's touch on one Saints topic and one LSU topic before we go. The Saints topic of the week. It's going to be the Trill Williams saga. I don't know if you guys heard about that, so I'll kind of explain it real quick. Trill Williams, I believe we signed out of Syracuse as an unrestricted free agent out of the draft. This would have been his rookie year. He failed a physical for us about a week ago. All right, comes back this week. He passes his physical. Everything's fine. We sign him, and within 30 minutes, the Miami Dolphins steal him away from us. So I'm kind of surprised that this guy who went completely undrafted is gaining as much attention as he is. I mean, I saw his film. I definitely liked his film, and I would have liked to see him on there. And especially because the guy that we went to go replace him was Ken Crawley, who's been in the Saints organization before. They probably liked him because he's been here and stuff like that. I just don't think that he's a great corner, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? I think he's going to be our CB3, CB4. Hopefully the rookie steps up, Adebo, and I think he's going to end up playing that spot. But if he doesn't, I think that's why we signed Ken Crawley. But I mean, dude, such a bummer not to get Trill Williams.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he chose the Dolphins over us, so in my book,
no. They signed him off waivers. He doesn't get a choice at that point.
I thought you said we had signed him.
We had. So the way that waivers work, we signed him to, I'm guessing, either some type of rookie scale contract. Certain teams have a right to claim players that you sign, and I believe that there are things that you can do to stop it as an organization, but you only get so many of them, and the Saints apparently didn't want to spend on Trill Williams, which kind of makes me think that he was just a camp body. You know what I mean? But I mean, if he's gaining this much attention, then I'd say so, because I think some other teams tried to get him as well. I think, and I'm just spitballing here, I think I remember reading that the Detroit Lions tried to acquire him. I think that the Bills tried to acquire him, but Miami was just on that waiver list. I think that they were the highest team on the list for what they got.
Detroit's looking for a whole new team anyways.
Who?
Detroit's looking for a whole new team anyways, so that's not surprising they were looking at undrafted free agents.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I kind of feel bad for Detroit, man. And it's not like they've had bad players go through there, too. They just can't put a winning team together.
No, they're the new Browns.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be Cincinnati. I know it sucks for Joey. I just don't think that
Bowlesby, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, why do you hate Joe Burrow, Bowlesby? It's because you're a Florida fan.
Joe Burrow.
Florida fan. That's all I hear from you. Florida fan.
Dude, they had a good offseason, Bowlesby. What are you talking about?
I'm telling you, the Bengals, they're just not a good organization.
But
Their ownership is just not good.
they're trying. With the off season they had, they're trying. I promise you that.
Yeah,
We'll
dude,
see in the
I thought that
upcoming season.
I thought they drafted really well too for what they got. I thought
Dude,
that
they
they
drafted well. They signed an offensive lineman in free agency, and they took Trey Hendrickson. If you remember, he was second in the NFL in sacks. He played for a little team called the New Orleans Saints, and they got him. They're going to be pretty good. So I don't know. Yeah, you have to have something against Joe Burrow because you're always putting him down.
No, I think he would do great. I just don't know if he's going to do great on the Bengals.
is it because you're attracted to Joe Burrow and you're scared?
I think that's what it is.
I think that's what it is.
I think all male LSU fans have a little crush on Joe Burrow. It's okay, Bowlesby.
Yeah, Ballsby. It's
Look,
2021,
Ballsby,
man.
Ballsby, all I'm gonna say, man,
Spotlight.
if Joe Burrow is in the same room as me, gay is the way, dude. I mean,
Joe Burrow should have been in New Orleans. He should have pulled a
Eli
Andrew Luck.
No, he shouldn't have, because that's really selfish of those dudes to do.
Yeah, I got to agree with that, man. I got to agree. That's one thing that I always, kind of disliked about.
Also torn his ACL.
Because, dude, it just happened to us. Zion, they were telling him that he should like sit out a year because the Pelicans won the lottery. Like, how would and that didn't feel good as a Pelicans fan. It's just not right. And even Zion came out and said, "I'm not gonna do that. That's just wrong."
Yeah, dude, that's one of the things that really kind of irks me about sports nowadays is that you have all these people that never played sports, never really understood what it meant to compete, and they're gonna tell you like, "Oh, dude, why wouldn't you just lose for the draft pick?" I'm like, because that sets a terrible precedent in the organization. That's how you become the Charlotte Bobcats, who no longer exist. When they had to rebrand because people were making fun of them every day online. I mean, we cyberbullied them into changing their name.
Right.
Anyway,
Yeah, I don't agree with like the media tries to like sway certain good players certain ways, and I don't agree with it. I think it's horrible.
dude, Pat McAfee did it this week. Did you see that?
Yeah, he tried to
Yeah.
get Zion to leave New
Yeah,
Orleans.
yeah.
So he moved to New Orleans.
Yeah, man.
And I,
He was like, I just think that organization doesn't want to win, and they're not trying to win. I'm like, okay, dude, what are you talking about? We traded for Bledsoe and Adams. I mean, I'm not saying that those were good trades and that they worked out, but we're trying at least. You know what I mean? The organization is trying. Not to mention we have 6 first-round draft picks that aren't even ours in the next like 6 years or whatever it is. I mean, we have I think 3 from the Bucks or 2 from the Bucks and 3 from the Lakers. I mean, that's just an asinine point. Honestly, dude, he just needs to stick to football and like WWE. That's what I think. It's absolutely ridiculous that this guy who used to be a punter is going to come out and say some stuff about this just because he wants to see Zion in a bigger market. And then he goes off and tries to patch it at the end. He's like, "Oh yeah, but if they start winning, then good on them. Good on them. Keep Zion. I want them to win there if they try." It's like, we're not trying to lose. Like, what do you like? You were a sportsman. You understand what an organization is trying to do. You think that they're just sitting there saying that no, we don't want to win championships. We don't want to make millions upon millions in dollars in merchandising. I mean, that's ridiculous. It's idiotic in my mind. It's idiotic. I love Pat McAfee. I think he's got one of the funniest shows on the planet. You know what I mean? I watch him religiously every day, but that was one of those things that just like, come on, man. Like, not you too. Not you too.
hey, Sean, edit this out. But that was so funny when you said Pat McAfee says we're not trying to win. What does he mean? We traded for Bledsoe.
You know what? I'm not going to edit this out simply because it might be a little bit the truth. But in the organization's defense, they trying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just
It
ain't working out. You know what? I hope.
I mean, dude,
I hope Pat comes
it's not
after
like
us.
you
I
can
love him.
predict. Yeah, it's not like you can predict that fucking Eric Bledsoe is going to come out and have the worst year of his fucking career after trading for him. He's been a good player his whole career. He just doesn't want to play for us. That's we did what we thought was gonna help us win, and he came out and he was just an asshole about it. That's not our fault.
Well, the main asset of that Drew Holiday trade was Steven Adams because I think we
Yeah.
used that first round pick we got in that trade to get Steven Adams.
I think
So that
we
was probably like a whole plan Griffin had.
I think we used like one of the three because we got like 3 first-round picks from them, and I believe we dealt one for Steven Adams, and Bledsoe was a part of that 3-pick package as well. So I think we only
Yeah,
got 2 from them, yeah, and then maybe some second-round picks. But I know that the NBA recently changed the rules about kind of how you're allowed to send picks. Like you're not allowed to send consecutive first-round picks anymore. You know what I mean? So they have to be spaced out over. So if you get 3 picks, they have to be spaced out over 5 years because they can't be
right.
back to back to back. So I'm not sure how that works with second-round picks, but I'm pretty sure we got second-round picks out of this deal too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean NBA second round picks are kind of they're not like worth that much, you know.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Those are kind of just fillers for other trades.
Yeah, I mean, if you're willing to spend the time to build, then I definitely agree. That let me
If we
rephrase it.
did,
Let me
if
hold
we
up.
did,
Let me rephrase that. If you're trying to build a winning team, then yeah, draft picks may not be the best thing, but they are great to send off to teams that want to build over time. Because one of the things that the Pelicans and the Hornets organization have always done well is they've realized the writing on the wall, and that's one thing that I think that we have to be happy about as fans. All right, when Chris Paul wanted to leave, we didn't fight it. We didn't have this Dwight Howard and like Magic like he had with the Magic. All right, we simply just said, all right, he's done. Let's get some closure and let's move on, and that's allowed us to at least have these windows of opportunity to win. Maybe not we haven't been able to capitalize them, but we've been able to consistently get that opportunity back as an organization. Eventually, we're going to hit the bullseye. I mean, hopefully, fucking, let's not be the Browns, but let's,
right?
you know what I mean? Like, thank God I knocked on wood.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way like it went down with us. Like after when AD said he wanted to be traded, we didn't know we'd get Zion at that point, so we were like, all right, now this is gonna be like a long rebuild, so we'll have to like rebuild through the draft and depend on draft picks and stuff like that. But when we got Zion and he's already this good this soon, it kind of just it changes everything. It's like, oh my God, well now we gotta like get good players here quick because we got this dude we didn't think we'd get, and he's like already a top 10 player.
We just gotta find that next move, man. The next move that's gonna take us over the hump.
Yeah.
On the second piece to pair with Zion. We need a duo. We have Zion. We need that second person. Brandon Ingram is that guy that
Dude,
comes off the bench to sub in for that second person, but we need
Oh,
that.
wow.
come
Oh,
off
balls,
the
B.
bench.
Balls.
Ballsby,
What are you
Boo.
talking
come
about?
off
Fuck
the
you.
bench. What are you smoking? He
Dude,
averages
Brandon,
24.
Dude, he's going to be like a top 20 player in the NBA. I mean, there's an argument that he's already like top 30 in the NBA.
You need 3 top 20 players to win a championship,
Minimum. Minimum.
minimum. So I'm not when I say Brandon Ingram's not the second best player on a championship team, that doesn't mean he can't be third or fourth and start. I mean,
Yeah,
as long as Brandon Ingram wants the starting small forward job in New Orleans, he has it.
Yeah, I don't see us getting rid of him anytime soon, especially because he's only 24. You know what I mean? If him and Zion can kind of over the years grow together as basketball players, I mean that's one of the reasons why Steph and Klay Thompson are so good together. Is because they had that chemistry for so many years. You know what I mean? Like that's you can't buy that kind of chemistry. I mean, it's invaluable. And I think that they want to keep those two guys over the long term. And then we're going to kind of cycle out the third guy, whoever that is. Maybe if he's the second best player on the team, but whoever that third guy will be might be an older veteran that we don't have to spend on as much,
Yeah, because we're gonna probably have to restructure Brandon Ingram's contract. 'Cause that man is making a lot of money.
Oh, I think he
Not
deserves.
necessarily.
I think he
'Cause
deserves every penny.
David Griffin said in his exit interview that if everything aligns right, that we would be willing to pay the luxury tax.
Dude, that made me feel so good because not only that, but I think that you can tell that they had a real conversation about this because the way he talked about it. You know what I mean? He talked about going in there and discussing this with her, and there was a very real aspect of saying we only have so many years in the luxury tax because we're a small market. You know what I mean? If we win, then we'll get that. We'll be able to sustain that. But I mean, there's going to be a financial gamble at some point that pushes us in the luxury tax because I think the Pelicans, are the highest paid team in the league under the luxury tax. I think we're the closest one to the luxury tax. So we're kind of teetering that line right now. You know, we're going to have to decide eventually when we want to push our chips in and whether that's sooner rather than later. I hope that the Pelicans fan base doesn't force them to try to make that gamble before they're ready. You know what I mean? I don't want us to go make a gamble just because we want to make a gamble. You know what I mean? And that's what I like about David Griffin. He's definitely got a plan. I don't know what it is, but he's got a plan.
The fact that he talked about that made me excited because that makes me think he has like one of the superstars on his mind that he wants to go get in a trade.
I really hope so, man. And I think that there is this element that the one thing that Anthony Davis never did at least well, is recruit players to New Orleans. I mean, you know, there's all these regulations about how many times the GM can talk to a player of another team, you know, and there's all kinds of stuff like that to prevent collusion. But the players can get around it. I don't know how or why. Somehow the players can get around that, and maybe there's some loopholes that they need to tighten up, like maybe if they get caught, there's a severe fine based on the percentage of your contract. I think that the NBA and to an extent baseball is a little different when they should fine people. They need to do it off percentage of contract because, you know, it's just some of the guys who are, you know, the LeBrons of the world, you think he cares about a $500,000 fine or whatever like that? No. And I mean, and the option, you can't ban him from playing because, you know, he's LeBron. He is the NBA right now. I mean, you know, it'd be ridiculous to. So, I mean, there's got to be something that they can do to fix that. But, I mean, dude, Anthony Davis never did that. And to an extent, Zion and B.I. really have to learn how to do that. And they have to get out there and make these relationships with people that they don't normally talk to in order to bring somebody in because, you know, unless we trade for somebody, it's not going to matter. And even if we do trade for somebody, they have to be willing to stay here. You know.
Right. No, I 100% agree. Because I mean, LeBron was probably. I think. Remember, Anthony Davis played on the USA Olympic team before he even played his rookie year. Like I think he did it that summer. We drafted him. And you know LeBron was already talking to him and being buddy-buddy with him. And that was, what, 8 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, that was coming off his, I believe he got drafted and then immediately went and won. So, I mean, dude, as an impressionable young guy, to see somebody like LeBron James, I mean, hell, I know if I was in that position, I'd be like, oh my God, LeBron James wants me to go play with him and win championship after championship after championship. You know, I'm not going to turn that down. I definitely wouldn't. But, right. You know, I think that, and, you know, Griff also talked about whether he'd let Zion and B.I. go play on the USA team during the Olympics. And he said that 100% unequivocally that they were allowed to do it. And I love that because I think Griff, you know, one, he respects Zion and B.I. and that they want to have the opportunities to go do that thing. That's a very special honor to represent your country in that fashion and to win a gold medal because, let's face it, they're probably going to win a gold medal because it's the United States basketball team. But, you know, and I think the second half of that is he kind of realizes what we've been talking about here these past couple minutes is that Zion needs to be able to build those relationships over time with those top-tier guys. And how do you meet those guys? USA team, you know, sponsorship deals, kind of different things like that. And I think the USA basketball team is a perfect place for Zion to learn how to do that.
What makes me nervous about that is that Zion's young, and those older guys are going to convince him to go somewhere else and play with them. That's what scares me about that situation.
And dude, that's a real concern. But I think that if we want to build a championship team, we're going to have to try that. I think that's just one of those things, like, it does make me nervous, but it's got to be an element to building a championship roster. I mean, you know, KD didn't go to Golden State just off a whim. I mean, he got recruited there by his friends, and they said, hey, let's run the NBA for a couple years. And that's an easy thing to sell, man. It doesn't matter where you are. I mean, especially I feel like New Orleans is a city that hasn't embraced basketball because we haven't had a good team. I mean, the Pelicans and the Hornets have been the Aints. They've been the Aints. That's what they were. Nobody cared about football. I mean, we cared about football here, but the city didn't embrace it the way they did until after Katrina and we won a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? It meant something to the city. And I think that, moving forward, Zion and them could really do that for New Orleans basketball. I mean, I think that that's going to be just a really, really important thing for us moving forward.
I hope so. We just got to cross our fingers and toes, cross everything, man. Just pray on it.
Dude, I'll cross my nuts and pray on it, bro.
Don't sit on them.
We need something, man, because I've waited my whole life to have the Pelicans just be in the freaking finals contention just one time, and I would just love nothing more than to see it.
Yeah. I think,
but damn well once they lost, you'd have an aneurysm, and then you'd be like, God, I hate the Pelicans.
Yeah, fire everybody!
That
would be the next day. Fire everybody! I want heads rolling.
I say that every time we miss a shot.
He's not lying.
It'd be like that one time we went to the game in the Smoothie King Center in the blender, and all you heard was Blake calling out, "I'll fire all of them."
Oh yeah, dude, we were playing terribly that game. We were turning the ball over left and right. I mean, it was just, it was the end of the Anthony Davis era, and like everybody knew it in the building and stuff like that. And we were just sitting there like, why are you putting this on the floor? Like, just start over, hit the reset. And I'm glad that Anthony Davis asked out when he did.
Yeah, we got lucky, but like I said. I mean, that year when we won Zion, we have the same lottery odds that year as we do this year. So you never know.
That's true. That is true, man. We got very lucky, dude. And I don't know, dude. If we got that pick, that would just speed the process up so much. I don't want to make a big move too early, but if you get that pick, I mean, you could really put something together that's going to be special with the assets that we already have sitting around, and then you add that on top of it. It's just, we could go get whoever we wanted, man. We can go get whoever we wanted, within reason, maybe here and there, but I don't know.
I think you could. I think that's why I'm hoping. Like Damian Lillard, we should all be hoping for Portland to get swept and lose in the first round.
Yeah, dude, I think that would be just unstoppable. Absolutely unstoppable. I would love to see Damian Lillard here. Or hell, even just CJ McCollum. I mean, even just getting him would space the floor out and would be plenty. And I think CJ McCollum is one of those guys that you could make. That's a trade that's possible, I think. We might have to give up a lot for him, but I think that's one that's possible.
Oh, definitely. And I'm telling you, if we get a top 3 pick, I think that Damian Lillard trade becomes all that more possible.
Yeah, I think you're right.
There's just a lot of things at play here, and I can't wait to see how it plays out.
Yeah, so on to kind of our last topic of the day. LSU Baseball had kind of a rough showing this week. We talked about how they needed to lose no less than 2 games in our last podcast. Well, they have lost 2 games, so they have to be perfect on the road trip to Texas A&M Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Guys, do you guys think that's possible? Because I don't.
Yeah, I personally think we need a win out too. Maybe you can lose one in a real close game, but no, I think we need to sweep and then win a few games in the SEC tournament.
Yeah, I definitely agree, man. I mean, but dude, like, how do we lose to Northwestern State? Like,
oh my God, I know.
I mean, that's just one that just epitomizes this season. And we have a chance to get a regional and to do something special at the end of the year. Maybe get hot, make a run at things. Go to a super regional here and there. And we lose to Northwestern. like what was it? I think it was 7-2 or something like
Yeah,
that.
it wasn't even close.
It was
They
7.
crushed.
It was 7-3. I'm like, come on, guys. And I mean, maybe they're trying to rest pitching because it is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series, so there's not as much rest going on. So you really can't pitch one of your great guys. So like that is something that we had to worry about. But still, man, even our second or third best pitcher should be able to win these games, man. And that lack of depth is what's going to kill us in the SEC tournament, and it's what is eventually going to kill us when we get to the playoffs, the regionals, super regionals, etc., etc.
Yeah, if we even get to a regional.
Yeah, well,
I mean, we gotta get there first to fuck it up. You know.
yeah, I think we'll get to a regional. The question is whether we host one. Hosting one would be amazing for our guys.
No.
Well, the regionals are different than a super regional. So the regionals are awarded by market a lot more often. They'll give a team like LSU, who by the way has the third hardest schedule in the country, so they're going to take that into account. So they do that a lot on market in the regional. The super regionals are the ones that are locked in tight. You know what I mean? Because they want to make money, and they're going to make money at LSU. That's the interest of the NCAA. Whoever tells you that they're a non-profit, they're smoking the strongest stuff east of the Mississippi. Okay, I have no idea who that is whatsoever, but it's ridiculous.
No, yeah, I don't think we'll. Even if we sweep this week, I don't think, and even if we sweep and win the SEC tournament, I don't. We might host. I think that's the only way we could host. More than likely, we won't host. I'm hoping if we do make it, we can get the Louisiana Tech regional. That would be awesome.
Yeah, if it is, I would like it to be something close, just so because our fans will travel if it's Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, maybe even Tennessee and Oklahoma to an extent, depending on where you are.
We've beaten Louisiana Tech twice, and we've crushed them twice. I think like both games were like 18-6 or something like that.
Yeah, I do think that's another thing that's going to help us get the regional over them. Is just the fact that we've beaten them twice. And, the committees in them look at that. They look at that kind of stuff. They're going to look at the capacities of the stadiums. They're going to look. There's a lot of factors that go into deciding these local regionals that tend to not make as much money as the super regionals. So I think that LSU is going to end up getting it if we can end strong. And I'm talking about we have to do very well in the SEC tournament. Making it at least. We have to be one of the last 4 or 5 teams standing in there. I think somewhere in that range, that would be a good showing for me. Win 4 or 5, 3 or 4 games here or there, and get kind of a midway exit. I think that might get us a regional, but man, I don't know. I don't see it happening just because I don't think we have the depth to do it. Frankly, I would love to see it happen. I'd love the opportunity for the guys. I just don't see it happening myself.
Yeah, this all just comes back like Coach Palmineri said after the loss. Oh, I guess I just didn't have him focused enough. I mean, he's done. He needs to retire.
Yeah, when that's your aim. I think from what I've seen in interviews and message boards and Twitter and different things like that, Tiger droppings, which by the way, if you're an LSU fan or a Saints fan or a Pelicans fan who's not on Tiger droppings, you're not a real fan. You got to get on there. That is the hub for any type of New Orleans sports, New Orleans, South Louisiana sports. They just don't have a podcast, so you got to keep listening to us, unfortunately. But we'll read it for you and kind of tell you what's going on, guys. Don't worry.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but what I've seen from those Tiger droppings posts and things like that is that there is kind of a consensus among the fans. And I think the organization even that he is on his way out. I think that even he kind of knows it. You kind of see him saying these things in interviews like you just said. I mean, he does. I don't think he's got it anymore. I don't think he's got that type of energy that it takes to build a championship team anymore, at least at LSU. He might be able to go somewhere else and do that, kind of get reinvigorated with the love of the sport. But there comes a time when we got to wish everybody goodbye. And I wish him all the best if this is his last year.
Yeah, this usually is what happens to high-level coaches like that, except Nick Saban, of course. But
Yeah. Dude, Nick
Well,
Saban.
I mean, when you keep pulling in players from prisons and winning championships, you're not it's not ever gonna get to that point.
or
Uh,
his cloning facilities.
yeah, he's got cloning facility.
Yeah.
He's got that Avengers style juice that he gives every recruit that walks in the door. Uh,
Oh my God.
Everyone becomes. He's got a bunch of Steve Rogers out there. And what's the new guy? I know that the Andrew Mackey's from New Orleans. I can't remember his character's name though.
The Falcon, I think, or something
Yeah,
like that.
his name is Andrew Mackey, right?
Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackey, that's it. I know that he's a Bayou boy. I'm really glad to see that he got the shield too, dude. I think that's really cool that a Bayou boy has got the shield.
Well, he's a great actor, man.
Yeah, and dude, I haven't been keeping up with the season and stuff like that, but I really love the Falcon and Winter Soldier stuff. I still need to watch the last episode, but what I've seen from it, he's got a money maker on his hand, man. Congratulations, go get that check.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're
But,
kind of getting towards the. Does anyone have anything they want to say? Because we're getting kind of towards the end.
Yeah, before we, finish recording, I just want to give a shout out to everybody that's been on the YouTube and on the Twitter, interacting with us and watching our videos. It may not seem like a lot, but since we put the videos up, we got 188 views. It's
Mm-hmm.
188 total views on all our videos. It's really a blessing to have this much of a interaction from other people, this soon. We this is a lot more than what we thought was going to happen. So, we just want to give a big thank you to everyone. And, don't forget to follow us on all our social medias. At Levy Sports on Twitter, on the Levy Sports on Instagram, and on the Levy Sports on YouTube. Keep your eyes open. We're posting content daily, and then posting content weekly on the YouTube. Just keep your eyes open and keep rocking with us. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Yes, and if you're a follower of us and you like our podcasts, send them to friends or family who also are into Louisiana sports. Just spread us around.
Every click helps, guys. Every click helps because even if they don't love the page and stuff like that, helps with the algorithm, helps us get views on the page. Another shout out I want to give is actually to former Saints quarterback Delvin Breaux. He actually followed our page and liked it. I want all y'all to go check out his book that he's got out, Unbroken. That's Unbroken. He spells it weirdly. Let me look it up.
It's UNBREAUXEN.
No,
Unbroken. It's just Unbroken with his name.
it's
right?
K. I think it's KEN at the end. That's what always messed me up. Yes, it is KEN. And if not, I do have a link on our Twitter page. You can go see it. He also has a link posted in his Twitter bio and stuff like that. It's about his story after he broke his neck in high school and kind of his road back. It's a great story. I've heard the story before. I've read excerpts from his book. I haven't gotten to read the whole thing yet, but I'm definitely going to place an order soon. So if you're a listener of the podcast and you've gotten this far and you love to read, please go support our former Saints guys. He's a small market guy, and we really appreciate him giving us that follow and stuff like that.
Yeah, even if you don't love to read, man, go give the book a read. It's an excellent story, and it can definitely help you draw some motivation and get you through whatever struggles you're going through, man. He's
Yeah.
an inspirational guy.
Yeah, or just Venmo him $20, man. I'm sure if you DM'd him and said, "Hey, can I send you money?" he'd say yes. So if you don't want a book just dirtying up your house, then send that man $20. All right, guys. All right, guys. Y'all have a good one.